Welcome to Xtembusu Career Guidance Episode 1. In this episode, we'll focus on the Relationship Management Career, or RM, in Singapore's wealth management industry. This series is designed to help you understand not only the job itself, but also the deeper factors that shape success in different career paths across different countries. This career guidance series provides detailed guidance on popular careers in different countries. But instead of giving only surface-level advice, we take a holistic approach. That means we look at the full picture, including people, motivations, and the environment around the career, so the guidance is practical and useful in real life. This guidance is designed for two groups of people. First, those who already have a relationship management career in Singapore's wealth management industry. And second, those who are interested in pursuing this career and want to understand what it truly takes to succeed and stay fulfilled in the long term. The purpose of this episode is simple: to help you build a successful and fulfilled RM career in Singapore wealth management. To do that, we'll use a 4-layer framework. These 4 layers are individual traits, individual needs, direct context, and indirect context. Now let's walk through each layer step by step. Let's start with the first layer, individual traits. Individual traits are characteristics of a person. In RM work, you interact with many people every day. To manage social interactions with them effectively, you need to understand what kind of person you're dealing with. Individual traits include personality, meaning patterns of feelings, thoughts, and behavior, and also other characteristics like education, skills, qualifications, experience, and even health. In an RM career, you need to understand the traits of several key stakeholders. That includes yourself, internal stakeholders like your supervisors and peers, and external stakeholders like clients, partners, and regulators. The RM role is about clients. It's also about working smoothly with the people inside your organization. First, let's look at investment and product teams. These include portfolio managers, product specialists, the CIO office, and research analysts. They care about performance, suitability, product uptake, and risk-adjusted returns. They're typically analytical and data-driven, and they expect RMs to understand products deeply and position them accurately. When you communicate with them, concise and fact-based feedback works best. Next are compliance and risk teams, including compliance officers, risk management, and AML or KYC teams. They care about regulatory adherence, suitability, and documentation. They are rule-oriented, detail-focused, and have very low tolerance for shortcuts. In Singapore, these teams align closely with MAS guidelines, so it's important to be proactive and transparent, not reactive. Operations and middle office teams handle trade settlement, onboarding, account maintenance, and payments. They care about accuracy, efficiency, and avoiding rework. They are process-driven and deadline-sensitive, often under time pressure. So as an RM, your job is to submit clean and complete documentation and communicate with clarity and structure. Legal teams include in-house counsel and documentation specialists. They care about contract enforceability and liability management. They are precise, cautious, and very focused on language. They may feel slow by RM standards, but they become critical when disputes happen. A key best practice is involving legal early, rather than escalating only at the last minute. Senior management and sales management include team heads, market heads, and private banking leadership. They care about AUM growth, revenue, risk balance, and the firm's reputation. They are outcome-oriented, but also need to balance commercial ambition with regulatory realities. At this level, they expect RMs to manage both clients and internal stakeholders independently. Now let's move to external stakeholders, starting with clients. Clients can include HNWIs, high net worth individuals, UHNW, ultra high net worth individuals, families, entrepreneurs, professionals, and family offices. They care about trust, returns, capital preservation, and discretion. They're often relationship-driven, time-poor, but expectation-rich, and may become emotional during market stress. They value responsiveness, confidence, and confidentiality, especially in Singapore's stable and regulated environment. Clients' advisors include lawyers, tax advisors, accountants, and trustees. They care about structuring efficiency, tax optimization, and legal soundness. They are technically sophisticated and protective of their advisory role. As an RM, the key is to respect boundaries and collaborate, not compete, because these advisors can be powerful long-term partners. Product providers and counterparties include fund houses, structured product issuers, insurers, and private equity managers. They care about distribution and accurate client targeting. They're sales-oriented but compliance-aware and often provide training and marketing support. They prefer RMs who can scale product distribution responsibly without mis-selling or mismatching client suitability. Regulators, mainly MAS, care about market integrity, consumer protection, and systemic risk. They are principles-based but strict, and they heavily influence RM behavior through rules on conduct, suitability, and documentation. Custodians and external banks, on the other hand, care about settlement accuracy and risk controls. They are process-heavy and compliance-intensive, and they have low tolerance for incomplete instructions. One important reminder: what we've described so far are general patterns. Specific individuals can differ greatly from the typical profile. That's why observation is critical. If you assume everyone fits the standard description, your judgment can easily become misguided. Now we move to Layer 2, individual needs. Needs go deeper than expectations. Needs are what a person truly wants, and they can be extrinsic or intrinsic, material or spiritual, and simple or complex. Understanding needs helps you understand why someone behaves a certain way and how they make decisions. Needs can take many forms. For example, money, career success, security, education, and health. They can also include love, family, friendships, status, achievement, and self-fulfillment. Most people have multiple needs, and their priorities change depending on time and situation. As an RM, your skill is identifying which needs are relevant to your work. Needs lead to goals, and goals drive motivation. Goals are the outcomes someone wants to achieve based on their needs. Motivation is the drive to act toward those goals. And motivation has 3 parts: intensity, activation, and persistence. So when you understand what someone wants and why, you can predict how much effort they'll put into actions. Now we enter Layer 3, direct context. Many people focus only on specific assignments, projects, or career skills, but context often shapes career outcomes more than we realize. Direct context includes the industry you work in, the organization you work for, and the career path you're moving along. Singapore's wealth management industry has a very distinct culture. It is built on long-term, trust-based client relationships. Risk attitudes tend to be conservative and prudent. Ethics and compliance are extremely strong. The environment is international and multicultural, and changes usually happen gradually and in a controlled way. The wealth management industry in Singapore includes several types of players. These include private banks, external asset managers or independent wealth managers, family offices, and digital or robo-advisors. We will talk about them one by one. Each type has a different structure, business model, and career experience for RMs. Private banks are bank-owned wealth management divisions serving HNW and UHNW clients. They offer end-to-end services like custody, investment advice, credit, deposits, and estate planning. RMs are the main client contact, and revenue is driven by AUM fees, product margins, and banking income. Private banks compete through global networks, product depth, and regional coverage. External asset managers or independent wealth managers are mass-licensed firms but not banks. They don't hold custody. Client assets are held at custodian banks. They offer bank-agnostic advice with flexible product choices. Many EMs are founded by ex-private bank RMs, and they compete by offering fee transparency and tailored mandates. Family offices are private organizations managing wealth for one family or a small group of families. They focus on long-term preservation, governance, and legacy. Their work often goes beyond investments into succession planning, tax, and philanthropy. They're more private and less regulated than banks or EAMs, and they typically serve ultra-wealthy families with very high net worth. Digital and robo-advisors are technology-driven platforms providing automated, low-cost investment solutions. They are scalable and digital-first, with low minimum investment thresholds and minimal human interaction. They focus on liquid assets like ETFs and compete mainly on cost, accessibility, and user experience. They also pressure traditional firms to innovate digitally. Competition in Singapore's wealth management industry is intense and multi-layered. Client expectations are changing. Many wealthy clients now demand personalized solutions, transparent fees, and flexible access. Mass encourages competition while maintaining stability. Singapore also competes with hubs like Hong Kong, Dubai, and Tokyo. Its key advantage remains stability, credibility, and a strong legal and regulatory environment. By the end of 2025, Asia's private wealth continues to expand rapidly, with Hong Kong and Singapore at the core. Industry leaders expect strong momentum, including net new money growth of at least 6%. But there are constraints: fragmented infrastructure, manual data consolidation, weak system integration, and limited real-time risk analytics. At the same time, clients are increasing allocations to equities, private equity, and even digital assets. So the industry's next phase depends heavily on modernizing platforms and upgrading technology. A major trend is the adoption of AI platforms in wealth management. For example, several private banks have integrated AI SaaS platforms. These AI agents connect client portfolios, firm data, research, and product intelligence. They support investment research automation, personalized portfolio management, Monte Carlo simulations, and multilingual communication. The goal is to enable more client-centric and more efficient advisory work. Now let's zoom into the organization level. Your employer is the most direct context you operate in every day. Key organizational factors include organizational goals, strategy, operational policies and processes, and organizational structure. To succeed, your work must align with your firm's goals and strategy, and you must understand both the written rules and the unwritten subtleties. A typical wealth management firm in Singapore has 4 functional layers: front office, investment and product, risk and compliance, and operations and support. But remember, every firm is different. Private banks, EAMs, family offices, and digital platforms all have different structures, so you must understand the exact structure of your employer. The front office is the client-facing and revenue-generating layer. It is highly sales and AUM asset under management driven with strong performance-based compensation. In private banks, RMs are tightly regulated by MS, including fit and proper requirements and licensing. In EMs, RMs may have more independence. Key roles include RMs, client advisors or wealth planners, and investment counselors. The investment and product layer designs and supports investment solutions for the front office. This includes global products, alternatives, and private markets. Many teams coordinate with global desks in places like London, Zurich, and Hong Kong. Key roles include the CIO office, product specialists, and estate and trust advisory. In family offices, this layer may be fully customized or in-house. The risk, compliance, and governance layer is especially strong in Singapore due to MS oversight. It protects the integrity of the financial hub and enforces high standards. Key functions include compliance, such as AML, suitability, and KYC, risk management, legal support, and governance committees that approve products, credit, and investment decisions. Operations, technology, and support ensure execution, scalability, and stability. This includes middle office processing, custody and platform management, technology and data systems, cybersecurity, and support functions like HR and finance. The industry is becoming more digital, but wealth management remains relationship-led. Digital tools support human advisors, not replace them. Different firm types have different structures. Private banks tend to have formal hierarchies with strong compliance and product layers. EMs are leaner, with front office dominating and many functions outsourced. Family offices are often flat, with principals close to decision-making. Digital platforms are tech-heavy, with minimal front office and automated investment layers. Beyond structure, interpersonal relationship status also matters. Work relationships can be formal, informal, or personal. For example, someone might be your peer formally but have more influence informally. Relationships are fluid. They evolve over time, so successful RMs keep track of these relationship dynamics and adjust how they interact accordingly. Three important organizational realities are politics, leadership, and culture. Politics refers to how power and influence are acquired and used, and it's unavoidable. Leadership style shapes attitudes and behaviors across the organization. And culture is the unwritten social norms, what's encouraged and what's discouraged. If you cannot accept or integrate into a culture, long-term fit becomes a serious challenge. Now let's talk about the RM career path in Singapore. It typically starts from assistant roles, then progresses into full relationship management, where you build and monetize a client book under strict regulation. At senior levels, careers often diverge into leadership, EAM platforms, family offices, or specialist roles. Progression is driven less by hierarchy and more by portable client relationships, regulatory credibility, and personal reputation. At entry level, you may start as an assistant RM, junior RM, or client associate. Your job is to support senior RMs with onboarding, KYC, trade follow-ups, reporting, and preparation for portfolio reviews. This phase gives you heavy operational exposure and strong compliance training, which is extremely important in Singapore. Typically, people stay in this phase for about 2 to 4 years. The core RM role is where you own a client book and become the relationship owner. You advise clients on investments, credit solutions, and estate or succession planning with specialists. Performance is measured through AUM growth, net new money, and revenue yield. You are regulated under MAS, including fit and proper and CMFAS requirements. This phase often lasts 5 to 10 years or more and is the main career stage for many RMs. At senior RM level, you manage larger UHNW relationships and handle more complex structures such as trusts, family offices, and cross-border portfolios. You gain more autonomy and often mentor junior RMs. In Singapore, this is also the level where RM poaching between banks is most active, and many career moves happen here. From senior RM level, careers often diverge into 4 paths. Path A is management, becoming a team head or market head and leading RM teams. Path B is moving into an EAM platform, where you may have more flexibility in long-term economics, but also higher responsibility. Path C is transitioning into a family office role, focusing on fewer clients but deeper involvement. And Path D is becoming a product or specialist professional, such as an investment counselor or product specialist, for those who prefer technical depth over sales. For entry-level roles, the basic requirement is a bachelor's degree. Finance is helpful but not mandatory. STEM, law, and liberal arts backgrounds can also work if you have strong finance exposure. After joining, you must complete MAS regulatory exams within the first year. Strong advantages include CFA Level 1 Progress, CFP for planning roles, ACAMS for AML knowledge, and wealth management certificates. Entry-level RMs need a mix of skills. On the technical side, you should understand core products like equities, bonds, ETFs, funds, and structured products, and be strong in Excel and PowerPoint. On the relationship side, you need strong communication, emotional intelligence, and the ability to explain investment ideas clearly. You also need attention to detail for compliance documentation and comfort with CRM tools like Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics. Internships matter a lot for entry-level RM roles. Relevant internships include wealth management, private banking, asset management, corporate banking, corporate finance, and client service support. Even an 8 to 12-week internship can significantly improve employability. Hard requirements include a degree, good results, English proficiency, and willingness to complete mass exams. Desirable traits include strong interpersonal skills, Asia market awareness, teamwork, cultural fit, and a service mindset. Mandarin can also be helpful for certain client segments. For senior roles, additional qualifications become more valuable. CFP supports holistic planning across a client's life cycle. Trust structuring and wealth planning certificates help with UHNW and family office clients. Advanced tax and estate planning courses provide an advantage for cross-border clients. And ACAMS or AML certifications are especially useful for high-risk client handling and leadership or control roles. Now we move to the 4th layer, indirect context, Singapore's macro environment. Singapore is pragmatic, rules-based, and meritocratic. It prioritizes stability, competitiveness, and social cohesion. It has strong governance, low corruption, and a market-oriented economy that attracts global capital and talent. Socially, it values multicultural harmony, personal responsibility, and education as a pathway to success. These factors shape how the wealth management industry operates and what clients expect. Macro context matters because it influences almost everything: regulation, client behavior, business opportunities, and career expectations. If you understand Singapore's environment, you'll understand why compliance is so strict, why reputation matters so much, and why trust and stability are major advantages. As an RM, staying aware of the macro environment helps you stay relevant and competitive. To make this guidance more real, we also include 10 stories of relationship managers in Singapore. These stories come from local private banks and global firms. They highlight real career trajectories, daily challenges, and how client service expectations are evolving in Singapore's competitive wealth management landscape. Our first story is Miss N from a major European bank's wealth management. She works with UHNW international clients across Europe and Asia. In one case, she coordinated multiple specialists under the one bank model to structure a complex €10 million mortgage facility and a discretionary portfolio mandate. The key takeaway here is that for UHNW clients, RM success is often less about individual selling and more about orchestrating the right expert services at the right time. The second story is Miss E from a major Asian bank. She moved from China to Singapore and started as a personal financial consultant. She faced a learning curve because Singapore's banking environment relies more on human interaction. Through persistence and personalized advice, she became a top rookie and was promoted within 3 years. Her story highlights 3 must-haves: patience, knowledge, and persistence. The third story is Mr. M, who joined a major Asian bank through its graduate talent program after graduation. His experience included rotations across capital markets and corporate finance, helping him connect technical solutions with real-world business challenges. He also highlights the importance of mentorship and regional networking. The takeaway is that structured entry programs can accelerate growth if you actively build skills and relationships. Next are 2 stories about an international bank's wealth management division. Miss M shows the RM as an inspirational partner, building rapport in lifestyle settings like art galleries to understand clients' deeper aspirations. Mr. H shows the RM as a super connector, creating opportunities through networks and business connections. Together, these stories remind us that RM value is not only financial knowledge, but also social intelligence and relationship building. Now we look at examples of a major Singapore bank. Mr. C represents the phygital trend, where clients use digital tools but still rely on a trusted human RM for complex decisions. Miss D highlights how RM success often comes from holistic life experience and how fast-paced the daily routine can be. These stories show that technology matters, but the human element remains central. Finally, we have 3 perspectives on results, service, and trust. Mr. J from a major European bank represents the results-oriented RM who facilitates deals and is always ready to act. Mr. V from a major U.S. bank shows the always-on lifestyle and high service expectations. And from the client perspective, an anonymous investor described the best RM as not pushy but efficient and helpful. The key takeaway is simple. In Singapore, service quality builds trust, and trust drives long-term success.